And welcome back. Joining us for our second conversation about the Commercial Fisherfolk License Program and their mobile app are Mr. Julio Maas from the Wildlife Conservation Society and Mr. Adriel Castaneda from the Belize Fisheries Department. Good morning, gentlemen.
And welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome. A mobile application out of fisheries for wildlife? Where did that idea come from?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's two applications.
Okay.
We have a consumers app that we're hoping to launch as a result of the demand for more information from the consumers about fisheries regulations, when are open seasons, when are closed seasons, so that when you, as a consumer, go to a market or go to buy fish, you can take out your phone and say, well, it's conch in season, it's lobster in season. And as a matter of fact, you'll get reminders of when those seasons are opening and closing.
Nice.
And I'm sure you will be able to go to the Play Store app, and download the app from there. And that's one of the apps. The second app is our app called Our Fish.
Okay.
And that is basically, we're launching that with the restaurants and hotels. That's part of an initiative that we started last year with partners such as BTIA, Oceana, Environmental Defense Fund, the Fisheries Department. And the idea behind that app is that we want to get a better understanding of what is being landed in Belize, what is being consumed in Belize, and what better place to do that than at the restaurants and hotels that are buying the seafood. So the application will then be, the idea of that is that when a fisherman comes to sell product, the restaurant can scan the fisherman ID, get that the fisherman has a license from there, so we know that he's responsibly sourcing the seafood from someone that has a license, and then he can document the production. That information is then stored partly of, the entire information is for the restaurant so that they can keep track of what they're purchasing, but also part of that goes to the Fisheries Department so that we can get a better understanding of what is the national consumption for seafood.
Okay.
And that's how the licensing comes into
So they're all linked.
Yes.
Yes, that's the idea.
Now, how did you decide that a mobile application was the best way to go?
For us, it was the fact that that's where technology is right now. Technology is becoming more user-friendly and more cost-effective. It's easier than us sending a form to the different restaurants and say, look, have this filled out at the end of every month and email it to us, or we'll pass and pick it up. There are too much steps on that way. People basically walk with their cell phones on their hands. So they're buying, they're tracking, they're sending. So that happens nearly seamlessly right now.
Okay.
So it's already in progress. People are using the app.
One of the things that we were doing is we're waiting for licensing licensing seasons to start, because that's when the Fisheries Department is starting to issue the new ID cards that are now machine readable. So that is how the program
So
is
they
linked.
can all be linked,
Yes.
So let's talk about that, the licensing renewal currently taking place.
Well, every year we have, in the month of January, renewal for commercial fishing licenses. This year, what we've done is, with the incorporation of this new system that Julio just mentioned, and made some edits to our database, we've been able to have a more efficient process. We have a ticket system. As fishermen come in, they go to a certain table. Our officers would help fill their application form, verify documents, pass maybe the most 10 minutes, and they're out with a printed license, which would have the QR code, everything ready for the other applications that Julio has.
So what is the criteria to be able to obtain a license as a commercial fisherman?
Yeah, it's important to know that month of January is renewal. However, we're receiving applications for new entrants.
Okay.
New entrants will be dealt with in February, and it requires a social security, valid ID, social security passport, or a combination of passport and voters if you have, birth certificate, proof of residence, a utility bill. It also requires that you present some form of link to a cooperative or to a place that you would be selling your product to, which at the end would be also linking to the app again.
So you
see
have
how
to have
everything is-
somebody that you have a customer already if you're selling
more,
fish.
more or less that.
Even if you're going to work at the fish market, for example.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what about an understanding of the regulations? Is that a part of the criteria for knowing
It ha-
open and closed seasons?
It has
or-
not been. We're trying to get that in place. It's still not up. What we do is just as part of outreach, we issue during the process flyers with the
Okay.
regulations, flyers with what they need to know, the basics of it.
And what has been the level of interest so far in persons wanting to become a fisherman, a commercial fisherman? Because you can also do the recreational license as well if you just want to go out and have fun fishing. But if you want to sell, what has been the interest?
We've had like around 100 to 150 new entrants every year.
Wow.
However, it balances out with some people, some years renewing and some years not retiring. So it's been basically stable around 2,700, 2,800 licenses every year.
You know, piggybacking off of that, how is the department working towards getting people more involved in, you know, commercial fishing? Because that's a really great industry. I mean, a lot of our economy is, you know, but fueled by, you know, fisheries and this industry. So how is the department working towards getting younger people more involved in or interested in wanting to get into this kind of industry?
Well, for us, more than getting people involved, I think it's something that it's still yet a bit open, that people can have their own interests. However, we're focused on managing what we have. And we're basically managing people more than managing fish. We don't do specific conservation, but we do management of the people that use these resources. However, we do collaborate strongly with the cooperatives, which are the main bodies that keep bringing on fishermen every year. So we're trying to work as close as we can. We work with partners such as WCS and others to also provide opportunities. We seek to do research to encourage new fisheries to be developed. Currently, we're looking at deep sea, for example, trying to do some promotion in terms of, you know what, you're wanting to go into fishing now. This is an option for you instead of lobster and conch, because we already have a
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I know the fisheries department has been speaking about this for a long time, about encouraging fishermen to diversify their fish product. In other words, give the lobster and conch a break, because it is at sometimes difficult for people to be able to make enough and go for the high value deep sea fish. What has been the interest since you have been promoting that? There is obviously more expense involved if you're going to go further out and spend more time outdoors, right?
It's been a bit slow. Again, because of the investment that you need to put in certain activities. People may not have the amount of funds to invest in a vessel, to invest in equipment, gear. However, there has been interest in specific groups. For example, there's a group in Placencia that are investing in bigger vessels now to do specific deep sea fishing. But we're trying also to work with, for example, projects such as MCAP, Marine Climate Change Conservation Adaptation Program, to promote alternatives, not necessarily with fishing. It's just that people need to have other options at their communities. So whenever they cannot go fishing, they have something else to do. Or their wives or their kids have something to do in the community that will also bring income or benefits to the household.
And with the diversification, I think I recall one of the conversations stating, one of the fishermen stating that the fisher folk weren't aware as to what the demands are in terms of deep sea fish. In other words, they go out, they get something, they don't know where to sell it, or they don't know if there will be sufficient demand at the price.
The major difficulty with the fishing industry is that outside of the fishing cooperatives, there's limited organization among themselves. And I'm confident that the new initiatives being taken out by the Belize Federation of Fishermen through all their associations throughout the country will help to bring some structure at a community level to allow fishermen to start thinking a bit more, how do we do this deep sea fishing? How do I speak to my neighbor and say, look neighbor, let's go fishing, but instead of us going on 2 vessels, let's go on 1, let's share expenses, and then let's share the profits. And I think it's for the people up in the north, in Sarteneja, Chonosha, and Copper Bank, who already do that with their sailboats, it might not be too much of a
New
shift.
concept.
But even that is changing cultures, because we know of an initiative that was done by a group up in the north. But these guys are so accustomed that for them to fish, they have to get into the water. Not on top of the water, they have to get into the water. Within the second day, these guys said, look, this is not for me. I'm not built to stay on top of the water. We are born to go into diving. And so they said, look, I don't want to continue fishing. Yes, I'm making money, but I need to go back. So you have to, it's a combination of many things.
Yeah.
It's finance, it's culture, it's social conditions. All of these things have to be taken into consideration.
It also means it's an emerging opportunity for
Yes,
people
and it is.
who want to get into it.
And so for new entrants, that is an easier industry to get into.
And I can imagine that's where the partnership with the Wildlife Conservation Society
Like I
comes
said
in.
earlier, one of the major roles for Fisheries Department is to manage effort.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to have something available for those that want to come in, or some mechanism to control who and how they have access to these resources.
In terms of like capacity building, I know you guys have all the information, and it's really hard sometimes to get the information to stick. But what are some of the new ways, apart from doing the trainings and providing pamphlets or giving them the information, what are some of the innovative ways that you can get the fishermen to not be so stuck in their old ways, especially if fishing is a trade that they've passed down through their through generations of their families? How do you get them to move with the times and be more conservative?
And download an app.
Yes.
Well, it is. You see, we have to go with the old-fashioned ways of doing stuff in terms of we talking to the elderly, we going and having what we call pelican time, is going on a one-on-one with the elderly and the other fishermen and trying to figure out what is it that motivates them. Yeah. But at the same time, we have what we call the managed access working groups or the managed access committees, whereby we have a group of fishermen sitting around the table. We bring management issues to the table from the various management fishing areas, and they participate in that process. As a part of that program, then we also have capacity building. We bring experts in conflict resolution, we bring experts in meeting management, so that then these guys start using these skills in the proceedings, and they take these with them when they go on the vessel, when they're organizing their fishing trip. They know how better to resolve conflict between themselves and their fishermen. Yeah. We have fishermen exchanges, we have fisher forum, we have boat-to-boat engagement. So when the fishing season starts, you'll often see Adriel out in the waters talking to fishermen on their sailboats while they're cleaning their product. And so there are many ways that we have found to interact with the fishermen. At one point we had jingles, right? We had managed access jingles coming out. We had Fishers Day that WCS sponsored last year. We plan to do that again this year. So there's so many things that we're partnering, and it's not only WCS and the Fisheries Department. We have several partners involved in these initiatives.
Now let's talk about what you hope to achieve with your mobile application. So you have two areas. You have those who are the customers, kind of documenting what they purchase, and one that is for general information, essentially. Why is it important to be able to know what is being purchased and consumed, and what is the current baseline knowledge that we have in this area?
Yeah, in order for us to be able to put any management measure, we need to know what exactly people are taking out. Yeah. Currently, the programs that we have are getting information from cooperatives, maybe, certain landing sites, but there is much more that is coming out. Yeah. People
sell directly to restaurants.
Going by the seaside and throwing their line, catching. Yeah. All of that needs to come so that we be able to know what is the size of the resource, the size of the pie, and how we divide that pie among those that are there. Yeah. So an application like that is just makes it more efficient. Yeah. We don't have to wait until the paper comes, have people entering the data, have people analyze it. It should be automatic, and we're able to do make management decisions more faster, more efficient.
Do you have anything in place right now to be able to gauge who's downloading the application? I mean, because not everybody has yes, everybody has their phone on them all the time, but like I know fishermen who have the very basic phones that if it falls in the water, you're not gonna have to buy a new one.
The application has two statistical platforms. One is for statistics as to download and usage, and we have those that's basically automatically we know who's downloading, how often they're using, and how much data they're reporting. But we also have the other platform, which, as Adriel said, will analyze all of this information nearly real time for them, and so they're not getting 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're actually getting pie charts. They're getting graphs. They're getting statistics already from that from that application. And the other thing with the application is that with the consumers application we'll be launching is that consumers will be able to report directly to the Fisheries Department illegal activities. And so you see on Facebook right now, there's a lot of people eating conch during close season. They're advertising for lobster, they're advertising for conch, they're advertising several things illegally on Facebook. And I know for a fact that if consumers would go to a restaurant and say, oh, I saw lobster during close season, it's as easy as taking a picture, sending it up with information. The form is there.
There's a reporting system.
So you can also report back as to the infractions that you're seeing. So, I mean, given the opportunity, people will do the right thing. And so we're hoping that all of this information will help to make management better and in the long term improve the livelihoods of the fishermen and those who depend on fishing.
Yeah. Now, there has been information, obviously, about the fact that there isn't enough fish being taken out of the sea to meet the consumer's demand in Belize. We hear of is it catfish that's coming from Mexico, the fillet, the strange fillet that is being imported? What is it?
Basa.
Basa. It's like a catfish, right?
It's a catfish.
Yeah. Okay.
Aquaculture.
Which people don't know they're eating. So I wanted to get to that because if I have a consumer app and I go to a restaurant and I know nothing about fish, I ask for fillet because I like fillet. How do I report that? How do I report what I'm eating? Maybe they tell me it's snapper, but they're giving me catfish and I have no idea. Maybe
and I might be allergic.
Yeah, and I don't know the difference between tilapia and grouper. How do I report these things? And even for restaurant owners, if I order 100 pounds of fillet, not everybody leaves the patch anymore for you to know what you're buying.
Well, that's where the combination of programs that we have will help you. So the Fish Right, Eat Right program is going to be a national certification program for restaurants and hotels that sell seafood. The idea behind that is that that same application will have a list of restaurants that are certified. And they'll be operating under a certain list of criteria to be able to get that certification. And so if you eat at these restaurants, you will have a guarantee by them having the stickers placed on their windows, on their establishments, that you are getting sustainable seafood and they're getting seafood that was locally sourced. So that type of program will help consumers, so you don't have to be doing all the thinking. If you see the brand there, just eat there.
So I don't have to eat the fish and say, what is this now?
Yes, you know that once that logo is on the window or it's on the establishment, that you can eat safely in there without having to worry whether your seafood was caught illegally, whether your seafood was imported. There are going to be certain importations, such probably there are going to be high-end restaurants that serve salmon or tuna, which obviously
we can't get tuna here. People did
we
the
get
deep
some
sea fishing.
Yeah, so we have some tuna coming in the areas of Dangri and Hopkins. San Pedro's often gets tuna too. So, but it's making things easier for consumers to recognize. And getting the information out there.
Okay. What else? So when officially is the app available for download?
The app will be officially available for download in February. Both of them. In the ending of January, we're actually going to the different restaurants and hotels to do the training
on how to use it.
On how to use it. We're going to the Keys. We're starting out in San Pedro and Kikakar to do the deployment of that app. And so we're going to be training the restaurants and hotels for that app. The other application, you basically just go to the Play Store and we'll be coming back to show off the app and then.
It's only available on the Play Store, not Apple, iTunes? The App
Yes,
Store?
yes, both on the App Store and the Play Store.
Okay. And of course, the renewal and new licenses program is currently ongoing.
Ongoing. This week we're focusing our attention on people from the north.
Okay.
We've divided the month into
Different areas.
different communities,
Yeah.
so that we have a more streamlined approach to it. So people from Castaneda, Capabang, Chunosh, Corozal, Orange Rock are coming into to license. We're not stopping others to come if they feel like coming in at this time. Next week we have Hopkins, Dangriga, and the last week we have the Keys, San Pedro, and Key Cocker.
Okay.
So it's going smooth. We call people to come in because at the end of March it's a cutting point in terms of being able to get a license, renew a license. So I urge people to come in.
And as you pointed out, what do you need to bring in to get your
For renewals, they need a social security card, their O license, and utility bill.
okay.
If it's not in their name, the person has to sign, authorize it, and a GP seals, and that's good to go.
All right. And for new?
For the new, it's a bit more. They require another ID, a birth certificate as well, the utility bill, the social. I'm not forgetting something, Julio.
And there's a different application.
Yeah.
Well, of course, but the application forms we do it at the department, so we don't issue the forms out as we used to in the past. They come in, we help them fill out, and we do.
And the information about the customer that they potentially have, right?
Yeah,
Something
the
like
minimum
something
age.
to that.
Yeah.
The minimum age is 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for stopping in and giving us an update as to the new mobile applications that will be launched and also about the licensing process.
Thank you as well.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about how to prepare a business plan. So stay tuned.